Welcome to the Candidate Forum for Sterling Heights City Council. My name is Clint St. Mosley, past chair and current member of the Board of Directors for Connect Macomb, formerly known as the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of our members, directors, and staff, we're grateful for the opportunity to present this year's City Council Candidate Forum. I will serve as your moderator. We'll be asking the questions that were prepared by our media representatives. So these questions are prepared by our media friends. At this time, I'd like to introduce the candidates for council. Deanna Koski, Rick McKitty, Robert Myjack, Michael Radke, Maria Schmidt, Liz Sararsky, Morris Smith, Henry Yanez, and Barbara Ziarko. Thank you all for your desire to serve our great community. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a personal introduction. Names will be drawn to determine the order. When a name is drawn, that person will be the first to respond. We'll move clockwise, so to my right, your left. From there until all candidates have had the opportunity to respond. Follow the introductions, we'll begin the questioning, where each candidate will again have up to 2 minutes to respond. Names will be drawn to determine the order of each question, and again, once we have a candidate to start the question, we will go clockwise, right to left, my right to your left, and on your left. The number of questions we will ask will be determined by the available time, and each question will be drawn randomly as well. Following the Q&A, each candidate will be given 2 minutes to give their final statement related to why they should be elected or re-elected. Terry from Connect Macomb, be our timer. When you're at 1.5 minutes, you will see a yellow light. So right in front of you, directly under the camera, there's a green light for the first 1.5 minutes, a yellow light, and then at 2 minutes, it will turn red. We thank the candidates for participating today and the audience members for attending. We will ask both our audience as well as the candidates to please refrain from applause, cheers, heckling, or any other unacceptable behavior. Our intent is solely to provide the citizens of Sterling Heights an opportunity to know where the candidates stand on important matters and see their vision on how to move this great city into the future. Due to the number of candidates we have with us today, we are anticipating this forum will last approximately 2 hours. So thank you for your attention. Now let's begin with the personal introductions. You'll have 2 minutes each. All right, Deanna Koski, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Clint. I would like to thank Macomb for holding this Meet the Candidate Forum. My name is Deanna Koski. We moved to Sterling Heights a year after it became a city. A new city with good school system and growing. I have an associate degree as a legal assistant, a real estate broker's license, and a title insurance license. My career background includes working as a mortgage counselor and closer, real estate associate broker, and escrow officer for title insurance companies. I am currently retired. I served on the board of review for the city, which led me to run for city council. When I was elected to city council, I considered it an honor and privilege to serve the residents of Sterling Heights. Our motto is to serve in behalf of all. I believe our duty is to listen to the residents, their wants and needs, the issues that are important to them. I believe in transparency on all issues. Residents need to know and understand how their taxes are spent. We owe a fiduciary duty to our residents of quality services at a reasonable cost. That's been our mantra for many, many years. We need to listen to their concerns. We have great programs, but they can improve. And if it's an issue, we need to make a change. As a council person, we must always remember We work for the residents. They are our boss, and they require we continue to be a safe city, public safety as police, fire, DPW, fixing our roads, keeping taxes low, protect senior services, support our libraries, parks, and schools. There is much more we can do and accomplish here in Sterling Heights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to Rick McKitty.
Pardon?
Rick is next.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for that transition. My name is Rick McKitty, and I'm very honored to be here tonight. I was raised in a little town south of Dayton, Ohio, called Miamisburg, where we were all farmers or baseball players, and my pick of sports was gymnastics. But was raised there, went to work in 1996 for General Motors at a brake plant. Married a lady I chased through high school in 1976. We've been married 49 years. We have one son, Michael. He graduated Utica High School in 1998. And his wife, Lindsay Tycola, they also live in Sterling Heights. But I'd went to work in the auto industry, become a union negotiator early in life at the age of 19. And by the time I was 35, I was appointed to staff the International UAW, working out of Detroit. So we moved from Dayton, Ohio up to Sterling Heights, Michigan, where we lived in Macomb and Sterling Heights up until 2010. My parents had gotten sick, so we moved back to Ohio to take care of them. And when they passed 3 years ago, we moved back up here. The reason I'm running, I'll say this, I believe that we all have an obligation to be involved in the community and serve our community. My mother always said that we are put on this earth to serve others. So whether I'm negotiating contracts for the workers at General Motors, Ford, or Chrysler, negotiating healthcare benefits, retirees benefits, and working conditions, it's a way to serve the community. And this is a transition from being a union negotiator to being a servant of the public. I love Sterling Heights. I think it's a wonderful community. I just think there's things we can do to make it better. So I hope if I make it and I get on, we can start addressing things, whether it's waste within our system, and take a look at our taxes and our top-up tax, and take a look at the $40 million we just went in debt. Was that money that was well served? Could we have done more for the citizens of the community with that money? Those are questions I'm going to be asking. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. All right, Robert.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Robert Myjack. I was basically born and raised in Sterling Heights, lived here pretty much my whole life, probably about 50 years in the city. I'm a product of public schools, went to North Elementary, Grissom, and Sterling Heights High School. I attended Macomb Community College. I have a bachelor's in economics from Michigan State University and an MBA in finance from Wayne State. I'm a first generation here. My father's an immigrant from Montenegro. He came here in 1967. He was a skilled tradesman electrician for Chrysler for 34 years. My mom's side of the family immigrated here from Canada. They worked in the coal mines in Canada and Pennsylvania before settling here in Detroit. And my mother is a retired nurse from Beaumont Hospital, and she lives in Sterling Heights. My wife, Maria, she has worked as a teacher in a public school system, and my son Philip goes to Michigan State like his father. Go green.
Go white.
Thank you.
Go blue.
As far as experiences that I can bring to the table, I'm a small business owner. I've had a small business for about over 20 years. It's located in Sterling Heights. So I hope to bring small business needs to city government. And also it was a privilege. I served as a county commissioner for many years, mostly the northern and western part of Sterling Heights. And I've adopted a county road for a sponsor for about 25 years, and I'm a coordinator with Green Michigan. And we have, just this last spring, we distributed 80 trees to residents in Sterling Heights this last spring. Sterling Heights is a good functioning government. We have a balanced budget. We have good services, good parks, but there are issues that are coming up. High cost affects everyone. I'm hearing that at the doors.
Thank you, Robert.
And hope to play a role in keeping costs low. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Hello. My name is Michael Radke. I've had the distinct pleasure of being a city councilman for the last 8 years. I wasn't born in Sterling Heights. I was born in the city of Detroit, but I moved here when I was 12 years old. I've lived here for the last 28 years of my life. I love the city of Sterling Heights, and I always think every day about ways to make it better. You know, in 2017, I ran for council because I wanted to strengthen public safety, deliver better city services, improve our neighborhoods, and attract new residents. I think we've done a lot of that. You know, we're planting trees and fixing sidewalk. We're building brand-new parks and refurbishing the parks that we've had. But there's still more work to do, and I'm proud to do that work. I guess a little bit more about me. I have a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Michigan in political science and history. I have a minor in Asian studies because I'm really nerdy. I have a Master of Arts from Columbia University and a Master of Science from London School of Economics in International and World History. My entire family, besides my brother, lives in Sterling Heights. I'm proud to live here. I love to see the people who make up our city when we leave the house every day, the diverse residents, and I try to go to bed at night thinking of ways to make our city even better. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Maria?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Maria Schmidt, and I have had the pleasure and honor to serve the residents of Sterling Heights as councilwoman for the past 22 and a half years. So a little bit about myself. I've lived in Sterling Heights for the past 31 years. I'm married to my husband, Bob, for 32 years next week, and we have two amazing young adults, Jordan and Natalie. I grew up in Royal Oak, attended Bishop Foley High School, Southeast Oakland Vocational School, and Oakland Community College. I've worked as a medical assistant and dialysis technician for many years. And now I get the privilege to work for Warren Consolidated Schools Career Prep Center as a paraprofessional in the health science program, helping high schoolers who want to be future healthcare workers start their journey. I'm a member of the executive board for the Michigan Occupational Special Populations Association, MOSPA, which is a great resource for educators to pass on to their students. We're members of St. Malachy Catholic Church. I've served on the executive board for the Sterling Heights High School Band Boosters for 7 years while my kids were students in the program. I also enjoy volunteering for the Children's Tumor Foundation of Michigan, the American Heart Association, and reading time at the library. In my spare time, I enjoy a good book, going up north, watching sports, and spending time with my family and friends. And I look forward to engaging in tonight's forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Liz Sarowski. I am currently the Mayor Pro Tem of Sterling Heights. That means that I have been that for about 9.5 years on council, and I've really enjoyed it. I think it is extremely important to be involved with your community and be a voice for the people that need to have a voice, which is everyone. I have lived in my house for 33 years at the same home. We've been in Sterling Heights for that same amount of time. I have been involved at the community level with my church, St. Lawrence Church, for the same time, 25 years as a Bible school director, field day director for the school, and children's tent director. So a lot of involvement at my church for well over 25 years. Also, I've substitute taught, and I'm still the cantor at all of our masses. I really think that it's important to be involved in something that's important to you, and my church is one of those things. My family, I have been married for 38 years to my husband, Steve Sarowski. We have 4 children. Anthony, who's a lieutenant colonel in the United States Marine Corps, Patrick, a prosecutor at Macomb County, Stephen, a business manager downtown Detroit, and Nicholas, who's in his 3rd year of law school. Very proud of all of them. Of course, the apple of my eye is my granddaughter, our only grandchild, and she's 9.5, Katie. Currently, as my elected background, I also was a charter commissioner for the Macomb County Charter that was written back in 2008, and that took 6 months. It was written, voted in by the people. Very proud of that because it is governing and leading our government at a county level. I've been a nurse for almost 40 years as an RN. Currently, I'm a director of nursing at a priest retirement center. Really interesting job, and I really think that it's wonderful to have that perspective. For our community, I think safety is still my very primary concern for all of our residents, and I'm holding their funding for the public safety that is my priority, one of my biggest priorities of all for our residents to know that they will have safe government and safe city to live in. Sterling Heights, I'm sure you've heard this, but I will repeat it, has been named the safest city, big city in Michigan.
Thank you, Liz.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Moira.
My name is Moira Smith, and I'm happy to be here, and I thank Connect Macomb for hosting this forum this evening. I've lived in Sterling Heights since 1979, and we started out living at 16 and a half in Dodge Park, where we could still see the cows living, and a lot of changes have occurred since then. I liked living on 16 and a half Mile Road because there were wild rose bushes growing along that street. It was very relaxing to come home after an urban commute to the west side of the city and downtown Detroit, where I worked. And I was a disability examiner for Social Security disability, and I investigated Social Security disability claims for 35 years. I did just about every job in that office, and I trained the examiners, the investigators, I trained the medical staff on Social Security rules and investigating and how you adjudicate a claim. It was a very time-consuming, very, very interesting job, and I enjoyed working with the public, and I felt it was an important job for the citizens of taxpayers and the claimants that we served. I graduated from Western Michigan University, and I met my husband, Paul, after I graduated, and he was on a project for General Motors where he retired from. He was project manager for GM. And I've lived here. I like bike riding. I'm active in our church. I'm a Catholic, raised in a Catholic home. And I see the light is changing, so I think I'll just cut it short there. Thank you.
Thank you, Moira. Henry?
Thank you, Clint. My name is Henry Yanes, and I have been on Sterling Heights City Council for the last 6 years. But this year, 2025, marks my 30th anniversary with the city of Sterling Heights. I started with the Sterling Heights Fire Department as a firefighter paramedic in 1995. And in 2012, I ran for the State House, so I retired from the fire department and went to Lansing and represented city of Sterling Heights in Lansing for 3 terms, 6 years. And then once I was term limited out, I was appointed, then elected to Sterling Heights City Council. It's easy to say that public service is my life. For the majority of my adult life, I have served the public honorably, with passion. I believe in being a boots on the ground kind of public servant. I go out into the field. I work with the citizens who have issues, going to their homes, going to their neighborhoods, talking to them face to face. Being part of the community is incredibly important. I also volunteer for a number of organizations. I drive for Meals on Wheels. I am the president of the Autism Society of Greater Detroit. I also serve on the board of the Sierra Club. I believe that our environment is probably our #1 health issue, and we have to protect our environment. If I am elected, I will be honored to serve, and I look forward to bringing a number of programs to the city of Sterling Heights that will increase transparency, accountability, and continue to make us one of the safest communities in the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Barb?
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Barb Zarko, and I have been voter approved since 2001. I became a resident and homeowner in Sterling Heights 48 years ago when I married my husband, Tom. Tom was a Chrysler employee and then retiree, and we were married for 36 and a half years until his death in 2014. I have one daughter, Stacy, who is president and CEO of Connect Macomb. I have an associate's degree from Macomb Community College and have been an active member of St. Blaise Catholic Community since 1977. I'm actively retired after working for 27 years as an administrative assistant and bookkeeper at both St. Anne Parish and School and St. Blaise Parish. I've been a woman of service my entire life. I have volunteered for numerous local, state, and national charities. I was the president of Regina's board of directors and was a Girl Scout leader who encouraged young women to achieve their goals. I'm a member of the American Polish Century Club Ladies Auxiliary, where we promote Polish culture and traditions. I am currently a weekly volunteer at the library used bookstore for the Friends of the Library, who promote and pay for many of our library programs. I served as the Michigan Municipal League Board of Trustees from 2019 until 2023, and served as board president from 2021 until 2023. I am still active with the league as a past president. This experience continues to allow me the opportunity to serve in a nonpartisan leadership role throughout the state. In 2024, I was awarded the Jim Sinclair Award for service and advocacy to municipalities throughout the state of Michigan. My many numerous volunteer positions that I've held have prepared me to work with many individuals to reach a common goal with cooperation, compromise, and respect. My council experience has enabled me to learn, lead, and serve through decision-making, education, and community involvement to make the best decisions on behalf of our residents. I am grateful for the opportunity to reintroduce myself to our community and proud to serve the residents of Sterling Heights, and thankful to Connect Macomb for sponsoring this event. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now on to our questions. So I'm going to draw a name again, and these questions haven't been shared with anyone other than Terry and myself from our media representatives. All right, the first question will go to Michael.
Always first.
So,
2 years, that's 2 elections in a row.
My lottery ticket.
so the first question, how can Sterling Heights establish itself further as a destination city for millennials and Generation Z, be it for visiting or residency, especially with housing?
Wow. As the youngest council member and the closest, I guess, to Generation Z, I think that Sterling Heights is embracing an all-of-the-above strategy. We need to make sure we're strengthening our single-family neighborhoods. We need to be adding housing where applicable, and we need to be adding activities and things to do here in Sterling Heights to draw young families. I think a lot about back in 2016 when I was sitting in the council chamber before I was elected, and Doug Skinnar and some other people thought about creating a farmer's market here at Sterling Heights. And there were people then who are still around now who were like, this will never work. It'll be a failure. It's going to be a flea market. It'll be terrible. And the city council shook them off and said, you know what, we're going to go forward. We're going to build a community event. And now anybody who comes to Dodge Park Thursdays, where we have a beer garden, a farmer's market, the splash pad in the summer, and music in the park, they'll see that we're building activities for families. And I go almost every Thursday, and I see plenty of people who I went to high school with their kids at that event. Events like that, they bind our community together and create a sense of community and neighborhood. That's why people want to be in Sterling Heights. I think that partly the issue right now is that there aren't enough homes, and homes are too expensive. A brand new build in Sterling Heights is going to cost over $500,000. A home that might need some remodeling, a colonial, $400,000. A ranch like the one I grew up in with my dad, that's going to be $330,000. These are not affordable for young families. How do we solve this? A lot of it's a supply and demand issue. We don't have enough supply, therefore prices are skyrocketing. We need to create more housing, because this will create a housing cycle where people will leave where they are, go into maybe a better house for themselves, and free up a starter apartment or a starter home for someone just looking to get into the city.
Thank you. Maria.
Thank you. Great question. I think over the last few years, we've really made strides at welcoming younger families into our community and making events available that are family-friendly, and not only family-friendly, but youth-friendly. I think affordable housing is a huge issue. I have, a son, 28, who would love to find a house here in Sterling Heights. Doesn't want an apartment, so he's willing to live in my spare room for a while. But that's okay, because he wants to stay here. There's something about our community that wants, he wants to stay here. And I think that has happened more and more with the amenities that we've brought forward, that the residents have allowed us to bring forward through a recreating recreation and the pathways. We are giving people more opportunity to be more active, and I think the younger generation really embraces those activities. I think with the development of Lakeside, there will be more to come there too, with some patience, because Lakeside is not going to happen tomorrow. However, I think there will be a lot of things for everyone to do, including the younger people. So I think the more we give as a community and the more welcoming we are as a community, the more we're attracting young families and young people to want to be here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Liz?
Thank you. So what I think to make, I have generation millennials and generation Z kids in my home, so this is perfect question for me. I think that one of the things that we need to do to keep our young people, attract our young people to our city, keep our young people here, is to continue to support and promote some of those activities. Yes, that we have those at Dodge Park, but throughout the entire city. We don't just have, it's nice to have a central location, but sometimes people don't want to make that drive. Even if it's, a couple of miles, it's important to have some of these amenities in their local areas. I think that's one thing we would really need to look at. Keeping our green spaces, which I'm really happy that the millage did pass to keep green spaces and land bank for buying green spaces, is very important as well, especially to that group of young individuals. They want to see the wildlife and the trees and the grass, and to be able to participate and use that as their own. So those are the areas that I think really do help. But another thing that we need to do, not just, and housing is extremely important, it's very hard to find a home right now that's affordable for that age group. So we do need to continue to strive to find ways to make that housing affordable and still make it beautiful and not something that, and make sure that it's something that can be passed down. Another thing that I do want to say is that we need to also continue to attract businesses that those young people will not only want to go to and also work at. So those businesses are extremely important to support those young people as they come into the city and continue to make our city as vital and wonderful as it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Maura?
I beg to differ with our prevailing opinions I'm hearing now. And I'm probably going to be called a naysayer, but I strongly believe in individuality. I see what's going on around the county and outstate in Michigan, communities across the country when I've taken road trips out west. Every city seems to have a checklist of farmers market, community band concerts, food trucks. All of these things are great, but they come at a great cost. And everybody is coming to Sterling Heights because we are offering these things for free. They are not free, they're paid for by the taxpayer. And that's my main concern, is how we are spending our money in Sterling Heights. It's a huge concern. We are spiraling into debt, and we're going into debt, and then we turn around and say, oh, we need more money. We just passed 2 atrocious millages. The first one was for 20 years, which we're still paying the interest for, and we will continue to pay the interest on that before we get to the principal. And then the second was a 15-year mill. This is not sustainable, to use the word that people like to use. I think the millages need to be decreased in their duration, and then we'll look at the spending of the city, and then we will decide whether or not we should allow the city to have more money of ours to play with. And as far as housing goes, people will come here because it's a nice place to live, and we're not going to be taxed out of our homes. I'm glad we have a good police force. It's a safe city. But as I go bike riding, and I bike ride every day, I use that for a lot of my transportation, I'm being terrorized by e-bikes, e-scooters, actual motorcycles on the sidewalks. Thank you.
Henry?
So I'll keep this relatively short because I basically agree with what Councilman Radke had to say in regards to his answer. But I will add a couple of things. And I think about my son who went to college in Chicago, him and his wife. And if it wasn't for family, they'd probably still be living in Chicago. And one of the reasons what they loved Chicago so much is not only there was a lot to do there for young folks. Oh, that made me sound old, young folks. But there was mobility choices that we don't have here in Sterling Heights and Macomb County. We need to be a more mobile society to get from point A to point B. The other thing is educational opportunities. We have two great school districts here for K through 12. We have a great community college. The community college has a university center, but Macomb County does not have a four-year university. So we need to be able to, and having a four-year university, if you look at Silicon Valley, you know, one of the reasons kids go out to school in California in that area is because there are the jobs there, and those jobs are there because the educational opportunities are there. So it's placemaking when it comes to education, creating, drawing people in because you have the educational opportunities, but also the educational opportunities expanding because you have the people there. So it works both ways. I think if you know, we're going to grow, we do need more housing. We need more affordable housing, but I think younger folks are also going to be looking at the ability to hop on whether it's a train or M1 rail or something along those lines, some sort of RTA bus system. I think that's something that we're going to need as we expand and grow, and I hope we see that in the new Lakeside development.
Thank you. Barb?
Would you repeat the question, please?
How can Sterling Heights establish itself further as a destination city for millennials and now Generation Z, be it for visiting or for residency and housing?
I think part of the solution to that problem is that we've been working on this, and I think we used to call it cool cities. How do you become a cool city? And that was when Jennifer Granholm was in office. So we've been working on this for many years as to how we can keep seniors in their homes as well as attract new people coming into the city. Housing is a problem throughout the state. It isn't just here in Sterling Heights. And part of that is we are pretty much developed, I will say that, but when you have other places in the state that are saying that, you know, housing, they don't want to develop their farmland, well, that's happened here already. But we've been working on non-motorized transportation for well over 15 years and developing our trail system, which I think people are using more and more. If you've ever been in Dobbs Park, you know what a traffic jam it can be at times. But these are just some of the amenities. I really think that we listen to residents as to what they want, and that's why we have the public forums that we do periodically to get input from the residents and where they want to see the city be in the next 10 or 20 years. So I think that's important to us, is that the residents always direct us in the direction that they want to see. The other thing is that we talk about how different lifestyles. If you're going to look at the future developments, Lakeside, did you ever think that it would be closing and that we'd have 7,000 parking places that we didn't know what to do with? The fact that that's going to be developed into a small city as its own is telling us how people are changing. North Van Dyke will hopefully be a walkable neighborhood and will be another, you know, amenity to the city, but be completely different.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dina?
Thank you. Destination city, that is something that we have been working on for many, many years. Sterling Heights has to be a destination city. My experience has been people like to go where they're comfortable, where things are that attract them. Entertainment, what can I do? Recreation, employment. Employment is usually a number one objective, but location comes first, then employment. How does Sterling Heights improve on that? Well, we've been working with youth groups. We have our youth council that gives us input, and we have improved our park system. We have now a new pickleball facility coming in for those in the 20, 30-year age group. So we're trying to give them everything that they're asking for, everything that attracts them. But most of all, employment is a very important objective. to be a destination city, you have to have employment, you have to have that paycheck, you have to have that money to buy that house. The supply and demand for a housing project, I can give you an example. We moved here and year after the city became a city, bought our house, 4-bedroom colonial, 1.5 bath, 2-car garage, just under $30,000. Do you know how much that house is worth today? I think you can probably guess. So we're faced with the objective that housing prices increase. So, thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
Yeah, thank you. Several comments about this. One, I have a master's degree in international business and political science, and I teach at Wayne State University from time to time. And I'm a substitute here in Sterling Heights. But I say that because I ask the students from time to time, what are your needs, you know? And one of the things you find out is throughout the state and in this area, we have this thing called a top-up tax. So mom and dad have this house they've lived in. I met a lady the other day that was in her house since 1958. When she bought their house, her property tax was $38 a month. And now her property tax is $420 a month. She's living on Social Security, and she told me at some point, I'm not going to be able to sustain this. So the problem is that if her children buy that house from her, I know it's a family transfer, but if they buy the house from her, their tax will be topped up to the new price, and the new evaluation will be $620 a month on the property tax. So their kids aren't able to buy that house strictly because of property taxes and top-up taxes. The other thing that I found, and again, I'm a real estate broker, I've been denied an opportunity to sell houses in this community because of the top-up tax. Because several weeks after a person puts a bid on a house, the seller puts a bid on another house they want to move to, and then when the title company reviews the amount of taxes that are going to be paid out under the new top-up tax, these individuals lost the opportunity to buy that house. The one thing we can do in this community and throughout this country is we can start talking more about a prevailing wage. You know, you talk about children staying home, children buying houses, but they're making $11, $12 an hour. They cannot buy a house. So we can kid ourselves all day long and talk about affordable community, affordable housing, but if you don't have the base rate to pay for it, you're not going to get it. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Robert?
Yeah, Terry, very good question. It does have a lot to do with supply and demand in terms of young people finding available homes here. One of the previous councilmen mentioned, yes, the cost of a new home is very expensive, and you do the math and look at how much a young person makes, that doesn't add up. They could not afford that. There's certainly a lot of challenges out there and things that are out of our control. If you look at the Great Recession from, 15, 18 years ago, things were reversed, where we had an excessive supply of homes with no demand, and banks could not give them away. And here we are 15 years later in the opposite, where there aren't enough homes, and that's a national trend. So we need to get through the problem we have today. But I do have to say, just as I said earlier, I grew up in Sterling Heights, and I'll tell you, today Sterling Heights has incredible amenities. Library, parks, our community center here. They didn't have anything like this when I grew up. I mean, we just had Magnolia Park and the basketball court, and that was pretty much it. So the city has incredible amenities, and I really do think that the mixed-use development of Lakeside will help to bring young people here to the city and be very positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. We'll go to our second question. For this one, we will start with Henry. Henry, as you may have heard outside to my left here, speeding has been a major issue in the city for some time. How do you plan to address this?
Hire more cops. It's just really as simple as that. You know, as I mentioned at the beginning of this event here, I started working for the fire department in 1995. We have approximately the same number of firefighters today that we had in 1995. And we have about 12,000 more runs a year. But we still have the same number of firefighters and inspectors. And the same thing goes with for the police department. You know, we can't get beyond hiring more people by coming up with specialty programs or specialty positions like we're trying to do with the fire department. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to public safety, it's about people, right? So we have technology. We put in flock cameras. We have some other technology. But the fact of the matter is, and I live on Plumbrook, so I'm literally half a mile away from Metropolitan Parkway and Shaner, and I hear the speeders constantly, all morning long, all evening long, and there's never a cop around because we have a limited number of police officers to cover 36 square miles. We need more police officers. It's a body thing. It's as simple as that. And as our city continues to grow, we're talking about North Van Dyke and Lakeside and adding all these people, putting up apartment complexes and trying to bring more people in to expand the tax base. That means more traffic, more crime. We need more police officers, and we need to budget accordingly so we can hire those police officers.
Thank you. Barb?
Thank you. Speeding has become probably the #1 problem in the city. I live at 15 in Shaner, and it's not unusual that, it sounds like they're drag racing on a Saturday night, on any given Saturday night. And I'm going to agree that there's not a police officer there when you need one, and to hear all of this. But the other thing is we can say that we want to hire more people, but where are they going to come from? Years ago, when we would have a recruitment process, we would have between 200 and 400 people apply for 10 jobs, and that would be in the police department. It's not that way anymore. We've changed our recruiting process to bring the best that we can here to the city in order to hire more people. It's not that, we don't want to hire them. It's where are they going to come from? And I think that, part of this is, a lot of this is the responsibility of the people driving the car. I mean, I sometimes think that there is not enough signs that tell us what we're supposed to do, even though, people don't always follow the signs. But if I look at Shaner just as an example, you go from, if you're driving south, from Hall Road until 16 Mile, it's 55 miles an hour. No, it's 50 miles an hour. From 16 Mile to 15 Mile, it goes down to 45 miles an hour. And then, and then south of 14, I think it's 40. So when you see the gradual speed limits there aren't signs that even tell you that there's a difference in the speed limit. And this isn't a problem that just happened yesterday. This is a problem that happened 48 years ago when I moved there. So, I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but it's not always on the police officer that sits there and has to pull somebody over. It is also a responsibility of the people that are driving the car to follow the law.
Thank you. Deanna?
Speeding has always been an issue. There's really only one answer: more police presence. If you go through Fraser, what do they say? Watch the speed limit. Make sure that you pay attention because you will get a ticket. We have tried different measures: street calming, plant the trees, make the streets cozier looking, that'll slow traffic. Put in, they call them speed humps, speed bumps, that'll slow people down. So we have tried different methods, but the bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, is police presence. In the neighborhoods, we used to have patrols. They would say, okay, slow down in the neighborhood. We've got cars that come through here. You will get a ticket. So bottom line, we need more officers patrolling our streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
Yeah, thank you for that. One of the things I have to say, looking at this recent increase in our taxes by $40 million, the bond they just passed, I think about how many policemen we could have put on the streets, police officers, excuse me. And the other thing, when you talk about speed bumps, if I call 911, I don't want an ambulance to have to drive over a speed bump to come and get me, because it might slow them down as well. And a few seconds may determine whether or not I continue to live or not. But again, I've interviewed a lot of the police personnel here, and of course, one of the things they ask for is they need more people. They can't do what's expected of them. They're on 12-hour shifts. They're working mandatory 12-hour shifts, my understanding. And a gentleman told me the other day when they had the fatality down here, his shift ended up being 16 and a half hours because he had to do traffic control, had to help clean up the site and all that. He was expected to be back at work on time the next morning. It's hazardous. It's a fatigue factor. When the police are stretched, their very limit, the people that are there to serve us want to do a great job. They do a great job, but they're also wore out. So the only way to fix that is by adding people. And you do that by when you budget your funding, whether it's $10 million for a pickleball court, you start looking at, is there a way that we can spend that money to provide a better service to all of the citizens, not just the 2,000 or 3,000 that's going to be playing pickleball. So that's what I agree with the group here. We need more police. We need more fire.
Thank you. Robert?
Speeding is a problem. I've talked to many residents about this. We do need more police out there. Some ideas I have that I've thought about is I think we need to have law enforcement, obviously in our high school, Sterling and Stevenson, Henry Ford as well. We already have police officer there to begin with, from what I understand. And I think we need to have those officers meet with students and teachers to educate the students about the dangers of speeding. We need to have someone from the police department meet with various ethnic groups in the city to also educate people on the dangers of speeding. And I do agree with the previous speaker, it comes down to money. If you're going to fund more police officers to reduce speeding, that's a need in the city. We really need that. I didn't vote for that, the tax increase last fall, because I felt that was more of a want than a need. And people pay a lot of taxes. You look at their tax bill, there's a lot of line items there, and a police presence and hiring more police officers is more of a need than I believe the pickleball facility. But we have to live with that. The voters voted for that, and we have to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Yes, well, I agree with my colleagues. We should hire more police, but that's not going to solve the speeding problem. When I first was elected in 2017, we had still had 25 officers that we had eliminated during the Great Recession. In that time, we've hired back 15 of them. We are hiring more police. That still hasn't solved the speeding problem. In 2017, we had a speeding problem. Today, we have a speeding problem. Some of this is behavioral, and some of it's going to be infrastructure changes. One of the problems with speeding is state law. State law sets the speed limits for our streets where people walk and they have schools, at the 80th percentile of cars moving along the street. So if we build extra wide streets with extra large lanes, people are going to speed. The greatest example of this is Shaner. Has a school on it. It's 50 miles an hour. People want to lower the speed. There's no way to do it unless drivers slow down. So how can we change it? The city has launched a traffic calming task force. We're working on our local streets. We're working to add speed humps that don't prevent emergency vehicles, but will slow people when they're cutting through on streets. We're looking at narrowing lanes, planting trees. When I first was elected, there was no standardization of crosswalks in the city. Every crosswalk looked different. We've now standardized that. We're asking for it to look a certain way so drivers know what to expect. At the end of the day, people need to slow down. We need more officers. We do. Patrol is the most important, so I feel like traffic has kind of gone by the wayside, but that's no excuse. We need to hire more officers, but we need to change driver behavior through changing how the environment is built, and we need to change how they drive through our neighborhoods to protect our families and our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria?
Thank you. Speeding is a hot topic, and it really always has been. I think for sure we need more enforcement out there. I think that some roads need to be reevaluated for their speed limit. I know it's said slowing the speed limit down would actually cause more problems. I disagree with that. I think well-signed streets, when you're on 16 Mile Road, it's 50 miles an hour. You go into Troy and the speed limit goes down. And people slow down in Troy. So I think we really need to reevaluate some of our busier, more streets that have more issues as far as accidents. those streets need to be reevaluated for their speeds. We do have some things that we've put into place, you know, the speed cushions, and we're looking at putting some medians in to slow things down, and trees, and I guess that's a wait and see if that really helps or not. I'm not sure. But for sure, we need to do more enforcement. And, you know, as far as our police officers, there aren't a whole lot of extra people out there that want to be police officers or firefighters at this point. That recruitment is really tough. So, you know, as far as a pickleball court that's been funded through a voter-approved millage, we can't use for police officers. So mandatory shifts, that was contract negotiated. So they're not mandatory, that's their contract that they agreed to. And I you know, can sympathize with those long days, but, you know, we can reevaluate that in their next contract. Thank you.
Liz?
Thank you. So I have to agree with Mrs. Schmidt. We do need to remember that this was a voter-led initiative. These were, when the millage that was passed this past November was brought, the items that were put on that millage for the voters to vote for, they asked for those items, and then the voters voted. We didn't push it. We didn't put it through. It wasn't the city government or city council. So this is voter-led and approved. With that money, we have to use it to what it's supposed to be used for. But I do absolutely agree. So I just want to say that out there, like Mrs. Schmidt said, we can't use that money for something else. We can't misappropriate the funds for something different. We can, however, yes, hire more police officers and make it more attractive. However, that would come at a cost, because police alone is more than, it's up almost 2/3 of our budget. It is a lot of budget right there, and we pay them pretty much the best in the state. So if we want to attract more, most of the attraction is going to come from a financial aspect, paying them a little bit more, but we do need to consider that. We did hire, I believe it's 6 this past year, and we are trying to do community policing as well with core officers in their communities to try to engage with the residents. I do like, and I, as a nurse, I see, and I did see when I worked in the hospitals, a lot of people that were hurt from trauma. So educating, especially the youngsters, young drivers, about speeding and the effects of speeding. Sure, speeding sounds great when you hit the gas and you can go fast, might even feel exhilarating, but that is not safe. So we do need to let and hold the drivers accountable, increase traffic fines, and increase levels of the crime if they are committed and going at a certain rate. And hopefully that will help a bit. We are trying a lot of different things in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. And last from this question is Moira.
Well, the speeding is definitely a problem, and I'm well aware of that, trying to cross Van Dyke or Mound Road on my bicycle. But I think a police presence is definitely needed. And I beg to differ with my fellow debaters here that I don't think attracting more police to work, I think we need to use the police effectively that we have. We live on Utica Road. People are driving, the speed limit is 45, it's a residential road, and I would propose a traffic light go in the middle of between Utica and Van Dyke, because that is a literal racetrack. That's got to be a mile to a mile and a half long. That is very dangerous, and when the weather gets slippery, there's people that go right into the ditch across the street from my house. Every week, there's somebody going down the ditch. I disagree strongly with traffic calming. I drive a truck when I do drive, and I know a lot of other truck drivers. Everybody's complaining to me about the Plum Brook traffic, bicycle lanes. I will not use them. I do not feel safe because these bowling pins are there. People aren't watching for a bicycle. They're watching to avoid the bowling pins. They're just not right. I think narrower traffic lanes are dangerous, and I think speed cushions are dangerous. All of these efforts are just spending more money needlessly in the name of safety. And as far as this $10 million, I mean, the pickleball. I have nothing against pickleball. Great, I love people getting out and exercising. $10 million is the clincher there. People were not prepared to pay $10 million for a pickleball palace with professional grade flooring. I'm just wondering if we're going to have the Olympic qualifying tournaments there. I don't know.
Thank you, Maura. We'll go to the next question. We will start this question with Robert. Sterling Heights has spent millions of dollars in local road repairs. How would you rate the major and local roads in Sterling Heights, and what would you do to improve them?
Roads are always an issue. The roads in Michigan were not in good condition about 10 years ago, but the state and local government and federal government are putting more money into roads. When I was a county commissioner, I supported many road projects in the county, obviously one of which was the $220 million mound concrete full replacement. That was a very huge project. Yeah, so that's a big issue there. So we did a good job with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Michael?
Could you read the question again?
You bet. Sterling Heights has spent millions of dollars in local road repairs. How would you rate the major and local roads in Sterling Heights, and what would you do to improve them?
Thanks. Over the last 10 years, Sterling Heights has spent almost $500 million on our major local roads. See, usually we define roads as both either major roads or neighborhood roads. Local is an odd phrasing, but essentially almost every major road in Sterling Heights has been repaired over the last 10 years. Mound, Moravian, 14 mile, 15 mile, 16 mile, 18 mile. I'm very proud of that. We also, through the Safe Streets Initiative, fix about 30 local streets every year. Mostly complete reconstruction, some of the asphalted in. And we try to spread these repairs throughout our neighborhood so not one area is essentially getting all the work. And that's important because people voted for safer streets and they want to see the work done in their neighborhood. There's always more need. And with the rising cost of materials, that's what's driving the need. You know, when I first was elected, a 5-foot square of concrete was about $76. It's now around $180. It's almost doubled over 8 years. So 1 mile of roadway, say on Ryan Road, 1 mile, 1 lane costs about $1 million to replace. So we have ever more needs and ever less money. It's a very tricky situation, but I think that if you compare Sterling Heights to the communities that surround us, we've made a diligent effort to fix our major roads, and we're making an honest effort to fix our local roads. And with over 500 miles of local roads, it takes a little bit of time. But I'm very, very happy with the work that's being done, and if anything, we were always looking for more money to put into the budget because we know of the need. And we hope the state would come through with some money to help us too. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria?
Thank you. I have to agree. You know, I think Sterling Heights here, we have worked in collaboration with not only our neighboring communities, the county, the federal government, to improve almost every road in our community, along with the residents giving us the opportunity through Safe Streets to invest $70 million in the last 12 years in neighborhood roads, in neighborhood improvements. And I know not every road has been improved yet, but they're on the list and we're coming. And that's what that part of that Safe Street millage was for, our neighborhood roads. I think, you know, it's as inconvenient as road construction is every summer. You know, we do our best, but we have pretty much improved every major road in the city, like I said, with collaboration in other forms of government. And we are well on our way to working on all of those neighborhood roads as well. So I think we do a pretty good job. When I drive into other communities, I can really tell a difference in our investment. So thank you.
Thank you. Liz?
Thank you. Roads are and have been a pretty big issue in Michigan. A lot of it is due to our weather and just the type of environment that we have, but that's not really an excuse. That's just a reason for why we need to continue to be diligent in repairing our roads. Sterling Heights has spent a lot of money to repair the roads throughout many, many years, that Safe Streets millage did help, and that does help with the residential roads. They still, I think, we still need to be a little bit better at those. My road in particular is a little bit bumpy, but the other residents in my neighborhood and all throughout the community also need safe roads to drive on, to ride their bikes on if they don't have the sidewalk, to be able to not have to worry about any issues on those roads. We do have to remember, however, that the odd mile roads are the city roads, the even mile roads are the county roads. Utica is a county road. So these are some things that we have to work in collaboration with our communities, with both the county, other communities if we abut to other communities, but also with other entities. And that is a little, as Mr. Radke said, it can be tricky, but it's also important to collaborate. But the residents, I do want them to understand that we do have a little bit of a division and who is responsible for what roads. And so I just want them to know that we are working and we will continue to work. No one is out there ignoring the roads. I think our roads are good. Some are even great, but they can always be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Moira?
Yes, the road construction is a problem. I think we need to coordinate the projects. When you're talking about speeding problems, we need to coordinate between the city, the county, and the state roads that we are repairing. This summer was horrendous in our area. Everybody was bumper to bumper everywhere I saw, especially going to work and coming home time. And that's not usual for this summer. I think a lot of these projects, no wonder people are speeding. They've been held up so long in traffic that they got to hurry up and get over to the daycare and pick up their kids before it closes, and they're charged $50 for every 5 minutes they're late. But I have personal experience with the local streets in Sterling Heights on the bicycle again. There are some of the streets are just pathetic, as well as the sidewalks. And people can't figure, why is this street getting replaced, or why is this, my neighbor's sidewalk, getting replaced, when there was no issue. But there are discrepancies in height of the slabs of concrete on the sidewalks everywhere. I don't know, there needs to be some uniformity to what's going where. And people are not complaining to be mean against their neighbor. They love their neighbors, but they can't understand why a stretch of sidewalk was replaced completely in front of the whole frontage of a house that did not need replacement. But there were slabs with discrepancies that were not replaced in that same neighborhood.
Thank you. Henry?
So part of the answer is collaboration. Not trying to avoid the answer, but the fact of the matter is some of our roads are county roads, some of our roads are state roads. But let me tell you what a real problem is, and that's funding from the state of Michigan. And the fact of the matter is the state of Michigan can't get their act together. They can't even pass a budget. And getting revenue sharing into our community is important so we can fix those local roads, and we need an increase in revenue sharing. That's number one. Number two is we have a millage called the Safe Streets Millage, and that millage funds police, fire, and local roads. But we also have tax increment financing zones. We have several of them that capture some of that millage money. We are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars that should be going to fix roads, and they're going to these tax capture authorities, and we have no idea how that money's being spent. We need to stop capturing millage money and use it for exactly what the voters intended it to be used for. I recently was, while campaigning, I stopped to talk to a homeowner, and he had mentioned the road in front of him. I took a picture on the C-Click Fix app. Part of the road was actually collapsing. About a bowling ball size area was, the road was highly cracked and damaged, but there was actually a part that was sinking. I took a picture of it on the C-Click Fix app. I sent it to the city, and I got a response, and the response was, that road's not on our list. That was it. That was the response. That's unacceptable. We need to stop capturing the millage for safe streets, and we need to get more funding from the state. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Barb?
After the great economic downturn of like 08 or 2008 to 2018, we lost a lot of property tax money. So that's the first time that we had to, we put on the millage, the Safe Streets millage, which takes care of police fire, so that we bring them up to the numbers that we needed at the time, as well as the local roads, which we've done a really good job. And as we talk tonight, we come up with different figures as to how much we spent, but I think it's close to $600 million that we've spent on local roads to improve them. And it goes without saying again that some of it is under different jurisdictions, but we do have partnerships with those jurisdictions to pay our part to replace those roads. Mound Road was brought up tonight, but the city council, the mayor, and the city manager at the time initiated that project to get it done and invited the county to come along with us as we found, Mound Road received the largest contribution of federal dollars for any local road in the United States. And it was historic. There were a lot of people that were involved to make it happen, and that was the late Congressman Paul Mitchell was actually the driving force in Washington in order for us to get that road fixed. Since then, we've been able to fix Van Dyke. We're trying to make the city a pleasing place to be, as well as being able to transverse from one part of the city to another. We're doing our best to fix the roads. Is there an easy solution? No, we would like more road funding from the state, but that's why we had the Safe Street millage to begin with, because if we didn't take care of ourselves, who was going to take care of us? We couldn't depend on anybody else. So I think we're doing a good job trying to fix all of these roads. It's not going to be like instant coffee, but it'll be done soon.
Thank you. Deanna.
Thank you. We have kept a scheduled inventory of our roads from what I can remember. We would grade them good, fair, and poor, and continue to update those so that if we know a road is in really bad condition, it would get moved up on the list to get it done before it becomes poor. As it's been said, some are county, some are state. That means that we have to coordinate any repairs that are necessary with either state or county to make sure that it fits in their funding schedule. The only thing that I could suggest, that's been suggested to me, is that we reinstate our truck weight stations. Some of these big haulers that are overweight, that they be fined so that we can control the damage that's being caused to our major roads. So we're working on it, and it's something that will always be there, that we'll continue to monitor. Thank you.
Thank you. And last on this question is Rick.
Pass. No, just kidding. Listen, a couple things. The majority of the conversation tonight has been around money, how we going to fund this. One of the things I did with the UAW and General Motors, we did what we called a make versus buy committee. We went in on product lines that were non-competitive. We looked at ways to create an internal structure to make them competitive, and sometimes that meant downsizing, right-sizing, and getting rid of classifications. Last I looked, we have a city manager making $270,000 a year. We have 2 assistant city managers making $120,000 a year plus healthcare. We have an assistant to the assistant city managers. So one of the things that I'm going to bring to the table when I'm elected to city council is make versus buy. We're going to look internally and say, are we wasting money? Are we duplicating efforts? And if so, then we need to do something about it. We need to fix that, because adding all those different people and offices does little to fix our streets, does little to add police and fire department. So I'll be looking at numbers and crunching numbers once I'm on the committee, and we'll talk about how do we pay for things and not waste money. So that's my answer.
Thank you. The last question before we move to closing statements. We'll start this one with Liz.
Of course.
Liz, the election year is over, so we're looking forward to November after you take office. 12 of you are going for 6 positions. You've just been sworn in and you want to see your initiatives move forward. How will you approach working with your fellow council members to build consensus?
That's a great question. I have always been I've always tried to be the even voice in the room, to find common ground and to go forward. I think that every single person who's running for city council is doing it because they think that they can do something to help better the city, to help better the people that they know and to help better their community. So I understand, and I have to take that into consideration, that they're not trying to damage the city, they're trying to make it better. So there's always a way to build a bridge. And I've always believed that bridges can be built. I do not believe in lying about our city council members. I do not believe in trying to besmirch their reputation. I will not be doing that because I don't think that that's fair or right. If somebody's been elected, it's the vote of the people, and they deserve my respect. And I will always work with someone who's been elected. And that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Maura?
I want to be the vote for the people, for the residents of Sterling Heights. I want them to feel that they are included and that they can be involved, that their input to the city is regarded. I think the taxation is going it's going beyond. And I feel that the residents need an advocate, and I want them to vote for me so I can give them my vote on council to look out for our residents. I do agree with Mr. McKitty and what he stated about, and that is one of my issues. Why do we have 2.5 assistant city managers? We do need to look at what's going on with the spending in this city. Everything is in excess, just like the pickleball court issue. We cannot go first class on every single thing. We don't do that in our own households. And the city council and our city government needs to remember that this is from the working people that are working very hard and struggling in this community. And I would like to look out for them and give them a voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Henry?
Thank you, Clint. Well, when I was in Lansing, we used to say there were three important numbers, 56, 20, and 1. And in order to pass anything in the House, you needed 56 votes. Pass anything in the Senate, you needed 20 votes. And you need the governor's vote, the 1 vote, to sign a bill into law. It's far simpler at city council. You only need 4 votes, right? So, you know, the most important thing that we can do, that I can do, that any of us who are sitting on that council can do, is have an open line of communication, put personal feelings aside. If it's important to the city, if it's important to the taxpayers, you have to have communication. And even if you have to channel it through somebody else, whatever, you still need 4 votes to bring change to the city. So I'm an open book. I have an open door policy. It doesn't matter if I get along with you personally or not. When it comes to the voters' business, I am willing to talk with anyone, have a conversation, exchange ideas, and come to a consensus for the betterment of our community, and that's how I'll move the city forward.
Thank you. Barb?
Thank you. I've always thought that the residents are the ones that tell us what to do in the city. I mean, it's all up to the residents. We can come up with a good idea, we can have our own ideas, but is what we want really in the best interest of all residents? The last question I ask myself before I take a vote, is this in the best interest of the whole? And that's what I'll continue to do. I know that we have to fulfill the voter mandate from all of the voter-approved millages, that whether it be Safe Streets or the Parks and Rec millage or the PPP, the last one that was passed. We don't raise your taxes. You raise your own taxes, which if you were to ask people throughout the state, they want our formula as to how we do this and how we get residents to raise their own taxes so that they have a better community to live in. Not everybody agrees, but it is the majority of the people that set the standards, that set the requests, that put things in motion. And that's why we have our public forums periodically. What do you want? What do you want us to change? How can we be better? So those are things that we ask ourselves all the time. I'm willing to work with compromise and cooperate with my fellow leaders and what we decide that we're going to do to move the city forward. To me, I think we compete against ourselves all the time to be better because we are so good now, but when you always know that there's room for improvement, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Thank you. Deanna?
As a new council person elected, we are elected by the people. We are elected to do the wishes and watch over the people. They're the boss. We're all individuals. We all have our own personalities. But what we do is the same goal. We work in the best interest of the people. So with different opinions, fine. You discuss, you debate, you make the vote, but when you're done, you leave it at the table. You learn to respect each other, show respect, and treat each other as you would like to be treated. And that's the way a council should work. Because if you cannot cooperate, if you cannot work together, you become known as a do-nothing council because you will not accomplish one single thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
Yeah, before I give my closing statement, I would like to thank the individuals on the panel here that spoke about being a nurse. You know, my wife is a hospice nurse, and I do hospice volunteering. And a quick story, years ago, I had kidney cancer, and it was malignant. They told me it was stage 4. And as they were taking me back to do surgery, I told my doctor, I said, I don't want her here when I come out of surgery. And he said, why? I said, she's a hospice nurse who wants to come out of surgery in hospice to stand by your bed. But on a serious note, thank you guys for your work in the medical field. You know, personally, there's a lot to be said. You know, I'm not an incumbent, so they're running on their record, and I feel I'm running because of their record. There's a lot of waste in our government. You know, we built a big ring on Hall Road. There's a lot of nicknames for it. It's $360,000. We could have put a lot of streetlights out there. We could have rebuilt at least one area of roads with that money. My son lives on Brightside over here. He's been there 5 years. He's called numerous times for the city council to come out or somebody come out and fix this big pothole at the end of his driveway. In 5 years, he's not got a call back. So one of the things I've pledged to the citizens, I'll put my cell phone number out there so that if you need me, there's no reason I won't return your calls if I don't answer it. Right now, accessibility and accountability is the main thing that I hear in the streets as I go door to door. So taxes, we've got to do something. We got to find some way to quit taxing people every time it feels good. And we have to do something about accountability and accessibility. So appreciate your support.
Thank you. Robert?
Yes, it's all about relationships here in terms of your question. If elected, I'd like to get to know each of the council people a little bit better. Some of them I already do know. Get to know what their interests are, or their family members as well. I would also spend time in many of the major departments in Sterling Heights, sort of like a job shadow, learn from city employees what their jobs are and the various services that each department provides. One thing I do feel strongly about is ethics. I was a county commissioner for many years, and I saw a lot of unethical behavior. And that's one thing that I will not bow down to in terms of, I have no conflict of interest in city government. I fought for good ethics in county government. I have no relatives who are city employees, and I'm not accepting any campaign money from those who do business with the city. So that includes developers, contractors, attorneys, and such, because I think we always need to strive for better ethics in our local government, and our citizens deserve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Will you read the question again?
You bet. So fast forward to the election is over, you've just been sworn in, and you want to see your initiatives move forward. How will you approach working with your fellow council members to build consensus?
It's a good question. At the end of the day, it's about ideas and doing the work. You know, you have to come to the council table with ideas, you have to read the material, and you have to work with them to pass your initiatives. You know, I've been successful in several things that I've advocated for because maybe I didn't get 100% of what I wanted, but I got a lot of it. And we have to work together, because as some of my colleagues here have said, if all you do is retreat to your own corners, no business gets done. It takes 4 votes of council to move anything. And I think that oftentimes when you respect your colleagues and you do the work shines through. If you have a good idea, it'll be adopted because people will see the truth in what you're telling them. And if you are out like I am, I've knocked almost 8,000 doors this year talking to the residents, I have a lot of good ideas. And I'm happy to have those ideas. And I want to share them with my colleagues to make sure we can work together to make this city even better. I knocked the entire neighborhood near the ITC trail. The residents love it. We need to bring that south to 14 miles so the residents in the southern part of our city have the same amenities as the northern end, for example. There's a lot of good things that we can do together, but it comes from respect, working hard, and doing your homework. Thank you.
Thank you. And Maria, if you would close us out on this question.
Sure, thank you. I think first, you have to educate yourself and your colleagues. If you want an initiative brought through, it's always best to give people the heads up that, you know, this is what I'd like to see done, so that they can start educating themselves. I think the biggest lesson is compromise, open mind. You have to keep an open mind. It can't just be your agenda. You have to keep an open mind to others. You have to listen, and you have to be respectful. As has been said before, if, you know, you're always a no vote just to be a no vote, nothing's going to get done. You're not going to accomplish anything. So you have to build these relationships with your colleagues and just be respectful and have discussions with them. I think that's the most important. And also, we rely on administration. They are the professionals to give us information on a lot of topics that come, on all the topics that come before us. So there's a lot of reading involved. There's a lot of things that you learn about in this job that you never would even think about if you weren't in this job. So it's been great. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. And I really think just keeping an open mind, compromise, and respect really gets you a long way on council. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidates, we appreciate your insight and answers to the questions. It's now time for the final statements. So I'll again draw a name, and you'll have 2 minutes for your final statement. The first final statement will be from Rick. Rick, you have 2 minutes.
Awesome. I took your number one spot, Michael.
Always.
Listen, I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. And one of the things I'll say about myself, I've been married 49 years. You talk about being able to compromise. I know the meaning. But truthfully, as a union negotiator, as an educator, as a political science major, one of the things that you have to do is you have to have multiple opinions, and then you come together in the middle and you find the facts. The facts determine the outcome. And once the facts are registered and reached, then the alternatives are simple. So I'm not worried so much about being able to work with my colleagues. I think they are personable. I can work things with them. The one thing I won't do is compromise my integrity, and I won't go into back rooms and make deals with buyers, with vendors, with builders, or whoever, and not talk about the deals we just made. So, you know, and one thing I will do when I do discover that there's some things going on, if there is, then I'll let society know about it. I won't vote in a vacuum. So with that said, I look forward to representing the council if elected. It's a great city, and I hope to be part of the group that makes it even greater. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert?
The Sterling Heights residents are very hardworking. They look out for their neighbors, and they care about their community. Our city is a really wonderful place to live, and I want to work to help keep it that way. Obviously, there are many challenges that we are facing today. High costs are affecting everyone. I like to play a part and to try and keep certain costs low in city government, such as fees, utilities like water. Water should be billed more as possibly as entirely on usage versus fixed. And we need to keep control of spending and tax increases. That's a problem. Before I came here, I looked at the amount of taxes that have gone up for my house in just 5 years. It's a 22% increase, which is about over 4.4% per year. That's a lot of money for just being able to keep up with a tax increase. When you look at people's wage increases, that go up 2 to 4% every year. So that's a big problem. I do hear a lot from residents about apartments that go up. We need to have more sensible development that makes, that works for the city, for the developer, and for the residents who live there. And obviously, we need better ethics in city government as well. I hope to bring that here as well. And public service is truly a noble cause. Again, I used to be a county commissioner. I'm very humbled, and it was a privilege to serve as a county commissioner for many years. And we need to look out for the little guy, as our late former mayor, Richard Noddy, used to always talk about. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Michael?
Yes. You know, I've been proud of the service that I've done over the last 8 years, and I've always been very clear what my goals are. I want to make our city more vibrant, more safe, more walkable, and the best place to live in the state of Michigan. And I think we're working on that. Sterling Heights is investing in the community. Much like your house. You buy a house, you do not do any improvements to it, or do you invest in it because otherwise it's going to fall apart. I see so many communities in this state disinvesting. I see so many people advocating for what I call a scorched earth policy. It's essentially we should add nothing to the environment. No art, no trees, nothing. We should just let it fall apart. And that's such a depressing worldview. I don't share that. And I'll also be very clear, if I think something unethical is going on in city government, I'll call it out. I won't walk around it. I won't make little things up here. I'll say that's unethical. I vote against things more than any one of my colleagues because I truly believe in what I believe in. And I love this city. You know, I'm working on so many things. You know, the Pathway to Play and Preservation Millage did one thing that I've advocated for years. It's fixing the sidewalks without special assessments. We were charging residents $6,000, $5,000, kept on lowering the cap. One lady got charged $9,000 for her sidewalks to be repaired. It was a tax on our longest-term residents. It was inequitable. My dad had to pay it twice. It makes no sense. Now we're going to fix those sidewalks. We're going to connect our streets. We're going to connect our neighborhoods, and we're going to make sure kids have safe passageways to schools and parks. We're building more parks because we want the city to be the best city in the state. I'm proud to live here. If you want more information, you can go to voteradke.com. My cell phone number is on every piece of lit I send out. Please call me. Let's make a better Sterling Heights together.
Thank you. Maria?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Connect Macomb staff for hosting the forum tonight. You know, I'm often asked, why do you run for council? Well, first and foremost, I love my community, and I want to continue to serve all the residents and businesses without any hidden agendas to keep Sterling Heights the best place to live and do business. I've learned over the years that I have to be able to listen to all sides of an issue and make the most informed decision that is in the best interest of all. I've taken the time to educate myself on the issues that come before us. While there have been instances where I've had to look at a bigger picture than just my own personal opinion, I was able to do that. I also have been very diligent to keep party politics out of this nonpartisan position. I have served with the utmost integrity, and that will never change. I will also stress to everyone that I never have and never will take your vote for granted, ever. Residents of Sterling Heights, you have an important decision to make in this upcoming election. Do you love the city services you receive? Do you feel safe in your community? Do you love the amenities that your city offers? Do you like having a voice and having that voice respected? Do you believe the vote of the people should be honored? I certainly do. And would love to continue to assure that these things will remain. With that being said, I respectfully and humbly ask for your consideration and vote in this upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz?
Thank you. I want to thank the residents for their past faith in me, currently having that faith in me as well. I really do. I am very humbled and honored as a small girl from Grand Ledge, Michigan, that was never into politics until I came here. This community boosted me forward, and I wanted to become involved because of my love for my community. I assure residents that I will never put personal politics or political alliances over their needs. I always look for what is best for my community and for what is best for the citizens as a whole, not any small group or any specific interest. I will always listen to anyone. I'm currently now holding office hours at City Hall to make myself more available to the residents. My cell phone has always been on the city website, and it's my personal phone. That is what I use. I don't need a city phone. I use my personal phone because I want to make sure that I don't forget a phone or miss a phone call. This phone is with me 24/7. I promise that I will never take any vote or voter for granted. That is something that it is extremely, as I said before, it's an honor. I've been tasked with making sure that all residents get the best representative that I can be. And so I look at every decision that I make and make sure that it will serve the entire community as a whole. I also believe in being a public servant. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 38 years. That's what I do. I take care of people, and I always have, and I always will. And I try to be a voice for those that don't have a voice. I am not a politician. I stumble over my words at times. I'm not always, I forget names of close family friends because I get nervous. So that is something, I'm just who I am, trying to take care of my residents to the very best of my ability. I will always be very grateful for your vote and your confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura?
Well, I don't know where to begin because there is so much that was not discussed tonight. I'm very disappointed. I could speak till midnight. The reason I'm running for council as well as all the others, I have the best intentions at heart. And I have begged to differ again with my fellow debaters here. There is only one persuasion represented at this council. There is no voice for another point of view. And anybody that has registered a different point of view has been scorned and vilified. And I do not think that is appropriate in our political environment right now. I think we need to treat each other respectfully and that they have value, their opinions have values, even though you might not agree with them. I do believe in beauty and art and the environment. Those are very big on my list. But I don't like supporting art that is not uplifting. I want beauty. I want beauty in our architecture. I don't see that with all these apartments going up in our area. I love gardening. I love nature. I want to preserve that. I want to preserve this sterling oak tree that they want to cut down probably as soon as the election is over. I do not agree with the overdevelopment. I don't agree with putting apartments in parking lots. I do not agree with the city being involved in Lakeside. You talk about spending money recklessly. That is not an investment for the city to invest with the taxpayers' money. That is something for a developer to take the risk and make it a success. I see that as a money pit. I do not agree with the North End project. That is slowing down the traffic on Van Dyke, going between the roundabout there at 18 Mile up to M59 is going to be a disaster. We have congestion and traffic already, and this is going to cause more speeding in other areas because they're going to be held up from the roundabout up to M59. I do believe in term limits, and I think many of you, some of them, God love you, God bless you for your service. You're very nice people, but people being on council for 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, 10 years, nobody should be on any public office longer than the president is allowed to serve. And I think that's part of the problem here. People have become too comfortable with their positions. Thank you and visit Moira Smith, the number 4, citycouncil.com. Thank you.
Henry?
Well, thank you. I want to thank Connect Macomb for hosting this event. I greatly appreciate it. Maybe I should get my website out first before I forget it, votehenryanas.com. Thank you. Look, being an elected official is a job. It's a job that the voters are telling you that they're putting their trust and their faith in you, and you need to return, if you're going to be a good elected official, you need to return that trust and that faith by doing right by the voters and the citizens and the taxpayers of this city. You know, when I first started canvassing back in 2012 throughout the city, we were still feeling the effects of the Great Recession. A lot of people were still out of work, or they had gone back to work but at less pay and less benefits, and people were struggling. And it was easy to see my family in all those households, all those doors I knocked. And that just made me want to work even harder. I felt that connection to those folks. And in order to properly serve the people, you have to go the step beyond. If reelected, I will focus on transparency so those folks can see how their tax dollars are being spent. I will focus on accountability. I will focus on making us a safer community. I promise I have not to this day, nor will I if I'm reelected, use my position to benefit myself, my family, or any of my friends. I will make sure that I do not look at this city as 40,000, a block of 40,000 people, but 40,000 individuals who deserve individual attention. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to serve, and I look forward to serving another 4 years if you give me that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Barb?
Thank you. Throughout my years serving the residents of Sterling Heights, I believe that the commonality in any year has been patience, teamwork, and communication. If we look at our accomplishments as a community, it really goes without saying that we are constantly competing against ourselves to be better. We've earned the right to brag about our safety, community involvement, population growth, an exceptional bond rating, low taxes and water rates, and the quality of life amenities. We don't rest on our laurels. We relentlessly are looking for ways to make our city an even better place to live, work, and play. We want business owners to come to Sterling Heights and bring their friends with them. We don't stop with just an invitation to establish a business in our city. We'll provide educational resources and encourage startup businesses to learn at the Velocity Center. We work in partnership with service organizations, different religious institutions, businesses, big and small, to create an environment where everyone feels like they are a piece of a bigger puzzle, our city, which we call home. I have continually said that the city of Sterling Heights is our collective investment. Protecting our collective investment is and always will be a priority of mine. I'm proud of our accomplishments. I'm proud of our city employees. I'm proud of our residents who understand how important their involvement is to this great city. After serving for 24 years, I'm not going to try to reinvent myself. I know that the residents have paid attention to my actions while working on their behalf. I've continued to personally grow and have been recognized for my nonpartisan leadership with the Michigan Municipal League throughout the state, representing all municipalities. I'm asking you to vote for me because I believe that my continued service, support, and dedication to our city and its residents have proven I'm a leader who can work with others and make tough decisions in the best interest of all of our residents, in the best interest of our collective investment. Please vote in this upcoming election.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sterling Heights is well known as a safe city, and that will always be our priority. There are many things we can still accomplish here in the city, such as park improvements and the addition of new paths and trails. I promote creating a volunteer bike patrol to patrol and provide assistance when needed by the users. Improve senior services and provide information as to how to obtain them. Include police and fire services in the plans for lakeside development. Assist DPW with future waste disposal needs. Review our tree planting program and make possible adjustments to address the concerns of residents. Most important, we need to focus on responsible financial budgeting and possible tax reduction. That used to be our mantra for many, many years. Lower taxes, reduce taxes. Encourage business investment, which we are in the process of doing with the planned economic development. We intend on increasing that particular department. This is just a sample of the many things planned for the next term. I hope that the residents will allow me to participate in the improvements that are proposed. So I ask for your vote one more time and one more term. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes our candidate forum. We'd like to thank Melanie Davis, Dan Rizek, and the staff of Sterling Heights TV for their assistance with today's forum. They also were here to record this event for Sterling Heights viewers and for airing them at future dates. Another special thank you to Terry, the timekeeper. Connect Macomb thanks you, your fellow citizens thank you, and we wish you all of our candidates the very best of luck in the upcoming election. Please be sure to vote on or before November 4th. Thank you. Have a good night. Drive safely.
Thank you.